Screen Blur.
Hello and welcome to Screen Slurps, the movie review podcast where we discuss the good, the bad, and the savage in the world of cinema. I'm Adam Meisner.
And I'm Laura Herlocker.
And this week is episode 100 of our podcast. What is going on, Laura?
I cannot believe it's been going on this long. I mean, I haven't been on that long, but I feel like I've been here forever.
Don't shame yourself
No,
over
but
there.
I'm saying, I think you had like a good chunk of time before me. I'm probably not majority of episodes.
Yeah, we've been going since 2020.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, this show has been on since 2020. Thank you so much to all of you listening out there to our show. And yeah,
and even if this is your first episode,
if this is your first episode,
get a shout out.
And if this is your first episode, this is our forewarning. This is going to be a very explicit episode. I know we got the little E next to our episodes to let you know that our podcast can have some inappropriate things said sometime, but our movie this week is a little raunchy. It's rated R. It's a cult classic from the 1980s, and some of the things we'll be talking about get very explicit from this particular movie.
There will be a lot of talk about penises.
Well,
one specific penis.
Way to throw that one out there.
I'm just trying to get the trigger warnings out ahead of time, people.
Our movie this week is Hell Comes to Frogtown. Is that not explicit enough for you? It sounds more like it should be a Disney film, probably.
I
but
think the title should have given us an idea of what we were going into.
You know, honestly, when reading that title, I thought I was going to be watching a movie, like a video game or something that got lost in an arcade, or, you know, some...
Like a Frogger?
Yeah. I was hoping
Frogger.
for that or something. And even when I said that it should have been a Disney film, I know it's called Hell Comes to Frogtown, but it sounds really like it could have been a playful movie.
A musical.
Just something really stupid and silly. But with that being said, I will say it is both stupid and silly, just pretty inappropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with that being said...
We'll just stop there for now.
We're going to get into the really deep details of this movie and all of the reasons why we think it's both stupid and silly. But before we get into all that, we're going to start with our side slurps for this past week. That's right, our side slurps, the things we talk about every week. Our side slurps are what we have been doing for this past week. Things like, you know, watching other movies, things that aren't the movie that we're going to be talking about this week, other movies, other TV shows maybe, and maybe things that...
Others.
Things that maybe aren't even TV or film related.
No,
things
whatever
that,
you want to do, spend your time doing.
Yeah, playing the guitar or turning on a light switch. You never know. So...
It's that Charlie Puth song.
Does he have a song about lights?
Yeah. You're not on TikTok enough. There's one that's like, you turn me on like a light switch. That was a horrible singing, but you know what I mean.
Boy, Charlie Puth is even getting really explicit now.
Yeah, that's a sexual innuendo if I've ever heard
Charlie,
one.
chill out, man.
Charlie
bit me.
I was just going to say, ouch, Charlie, that hurts.
We're getting old.
I think so.
Laura, what have you been up to this
losing it.
past week?
I'm losing my mind, obviously. My book of the week that I read this last week was By the Book by Jasmine Guillory. It is like a modern retelling of Beauty and the Beast set in the publication world.
Wow. Beauty and the Beast in the library?
I mean, she does have a big library in Beauty and the Beast, so...
I mean, that makes sense, actually.
Yeah,
now that
I think that's
I caught myself as
like,
I said that.
Where else would they have said it? Like, publications world is perfect for
Now
Belle.
I'm imagining Beast having his own library.
Well, he was like an angry child movie star, grown up bad boy.
Oh.
That's why he was the Beast. He didn't actually turn into a beast.
Just have him and Belle flip roles or something. So Beast is the one on the book ladder and
swinging around like, oh.
Exactly.
I'll rewrite the story, Adam. I'll do it that way for
That'd
you.
be great.
It was okay. Jasmine Guillory, I've read a few of her other books and I really liked them. So this one I was kind of disappointed in. I don't know if it's because, I mean, I think it was published by Disney Publishing. So I don't know if it's because it was Disney-fied why I didn't like it as much, but her other stuff is really good. So I would highly suggest reading some Jasmine Guillory if you like rom-coms of any kind. For our movies that we've been watching this week, as I've already mentioned several times now, I'm in spooky season. So I've been watching a lot of spooky movies. Adam, I had you watch for the very first time Practical Magic with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, which is one of my favorite like spooky season movies about these two sisters who are witches, and there's a curse on their family where any man that they love dies. And it's just about them like being adults and figuring out life and falling in love.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. The movie, to me, seems like it could have been a part of the Disney library. And
it's a feel-good movie.
Very much falls in the same radar as a film like Hocus Pocus. In my mind, in my perception, it seems very much a very similar concept.
It's a family seasonal movie. You know, I feel like they're all like Hallmark Christmas movies, Disney Channel originals.
Except
they
it's a
all have
Hallmark
that,
Halloween
like,
movie.
Right, exactly. It's just the Halloween one. But that's why they all have that like same vibe. Because, you know, plot-wise, like other than the fact that they're witches, it's not very much like Hocus Pocus.
Right.
But I get why you made that comparison, because it's that family seasonal.
That feel good.
Feel good. Yeah. Strong women. The whole kind of thing. But so we watched Practical Magic, and then I also watched Beetlejuice, which is tradition. You have to watch Beetlejuice every year. And also Constantine. So with Keanu Reeves.
You're losing it.
I wanted to say Tom Cruise, and I was like, that is not Tom Cruise.
Wow, that would be a fun movie with Tom Cruise.
I don't know. I was sitting here and I was like, it's not Tom Cruise. No. But it's based on a comic, which is kind of connected to The Sandman, which is on Netflix right now that I kind of started watching. So I was like, oh, well, let me watch Constantine because I know they're connected. And yeah, Keanu Reeves, he's always great. So, you know, another good, creepy, dark movie.
Yeah, we just need to whip on John Wick now and we'll be all set.
We saw the first one, I think.
I believe so, yeah.
Just not the ones afterwards.
And we recently watched Nobody with Bob Odenkirk, and I know
it was like a rip-off John Wick.
If you want to call it that, it's similar, but I enjoyed the similarity between Nobody and John Wick, the similar concept between Nobody and John Wick, and I thought it was just fun to think that Bob Odenkirk was in that same vein that Keanu Reeves has in John Wick, because I would never imagine Bob Odenkirk playing a character like that.
No.
And to see him being that kind of a character because someone took his daughter's kitty necklace, I think is what it was. They didn't take the actual cat.
I didn't watch all of it with you.
But so they took the cat necklace, I think is what it was. And he was flipping his shit in that movie. Just like, you take my daughter's cat necklace or whatever. And he just freaks out and he is taking people out. And just watching that in that movie, it was enjoyable. I'd like to watch it again. And perhaps we can discuss it in a little more detail sometime on the show. But yeah, it was definitely interesting to see something like that, but
I feel like we are meandering so much this episode. I was like, okay, how did we get to Nobody? But
we're talking about movies.
I know. I'm done. I thought I kind of said I was done. Did I not? Sorry. Restart. I shouldn't have.
Are you really having a hard time over there?
My brain's not functioning. I don't even remember what we've been talking about.
You were talking about what you've been doing this past week.
Other than the spooky movies, I've also started doing my embroidery again, which I may have talked about last episode too. So I've started drawing out some things, planning out what to do, and I'm hoping to get started on that this weekend when we're on our nice little mini vacation.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Maybe you can embroider some more film kind of concepts into your little
No,
embroidery?
that's what some of the things I planned are based off of the movies that we've been watching recently.
Yeah, and listeners, if you have any thoughts on things you'd like to see embroidered, some films and such embroidered into some nice designs, maybe leave a comment on our pages and reach out to us. Let us know if there's something you'd like to see. And
I'm not the best, so I'm not promising anything spectacular, but
we always
I'll do
like
what
ideas.
I can. Yeah. I'll make my best attempt at it. And yeah, I think that's really it for what I've been slurping up this week. What have you been up to, Adam?
Well, a few of the things I've been up to is learning some new music for the trip we're taking coming up here. And I know I was just playing Careless Whisper on the guitar this past few days. And
Good song.
that's with my skills on the guitar, I don't think Careless Whisper was too much of a trick, but it really opens my mind into thinking I need to try and whip out when I was covering Steely Dan on the keyboard. I need to try and bust into learning those songs again because boy, were those a trip when I was trying to learn how to play Steely Dan music. And there's definitely other cover songs that were really cracking my brain that I would love to try and learn more of, and learn some more jazzy music on the keyboard that I am really itching to learn and play more. And I'm really excited to just expand the radar on learning some more music and playing more music. So I'm excited to be doing that now and just constantly playing more. And also, in addition to that, I've been trying to learn more when it comes to creating my own video game on my computer, which I've been just doing more and more with that now. And I'm very excited to be making progress with that. But it definitely is a trick, as during the COVID season, I will say, which was basically 2019 through 2020, 2021.
Yeah, like
I was
3 years almost.
I was really learning a lot about using the Unity software and some sound design software that goes along with that on my computer. And I took a little bit of a break after I made one video game with all of that, but now I'm really diving more into that again. And it's nice to know that I still remember a lot of it, but I'm really trying to refresh my mind as I make new games on my computer and relearn and learn more about doing all of that. So it's taken a lot, but I'm happy to try and make more progress with that too. Just taking some time. So that's what I've been up to. That's some of the stuff I've been doing. And
pretty chill week for us.
Yeah, it's been pretty chill. And of course, in addition to that, like you, Laura, just been watching a lot of shows, a lot of movies. One show in particular that I know you and I both love, Forged in Fire.
I think we've talked about this before in the podcast.
Probably.
We left it for a little bit and now we're back on the Forged in Fire kick.
I don't know where we leave off on that show, though, because it seems like
we rewatch a lot of episodes.
We just put it on, and then we just keep watching it, and then we will turn it off, and then we'll turn it back on. And I think now we started back on season 1, because I can't remember if we watched season 1 before, but watching it again now, it's like I've never seen it before.
Yeah, it's like every episode's like something new, and I'm like, oh, I've never seen this, when I probably have.
Yeah, we may have watched it before, but I don't remember seeing it because we've watched so many episodes, or maybe we haven't.
It's really
I just
funny
don't remember it.
Going back and watching first season when we were watching like the last season right before, just to see the age difference between like the host, Will Willis, and the judges.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just crazy to see the kinds of knives and swords and just blades, I should say, that they're making, because they're making such an assortment of blades on that show that I just can't believe how skilled these people are that they're making these blades.
Yeah.
But that is what I have been up to, and I just want to dive into some things that I saw when I was going through online, some news in the media, which I found this very interesting. This in particular, I found this very interesting as I was, looking across the internet. But some news that I found recently, today, in fact, actually, it was an article I found on The Hollywood Reporter. Streaming overtakes cable in July as the leading platform rankings.
I'm surprised it's taken this long, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought that streaming would have overtaken cable
Yeah, but
months
I
ago.
guess, I mean, because I feel like everyone that's our age, no one has cable. But
Right.
I'm guessing it's still the older generations that already had it before that just kept it.
But I guess as I was reading more into that, it also said that it has been increasing every month since March by about an entire percentage point, and this is according to Nielsen,
Oh, the rating system.
the rating system,
Yeah.
the monthly gauge platform rankings. So if you look at the rating system's platform rankings, if you look at their percentage rankings, the streaming system's ratings are increasing by about a percentage point every month since
Wow.
March.
That seems like drastic.
Yeah. And I guess as I kept reading that, it was saying that in July, that was partially due to the new season of Stranger Things, The Umbrella Academy, and The Boys.
That makes sense.
But I guess with Netflix, you can also see that about 1 million subscribers have left Netflix like this past month.
I know. Where are they going?
I don't know because...
Like, what is the replacement for Netflix?
You know, the other streaming services out there right now are Amazon Prime and HBO is...
And then, like, every private channel has their own
HBO
separate
is merging
streaming.
with Discovery, I think.
Yeah, I think so. They were bought by Warner.
So, yeah. So we'll see how that all pans out. And we've also got Paramount Plus. I mean, there is such
What's gonna be the
a
next
slew
Netflix
of streaming
is the
services.
question.
And to think that if you're not paying into a cable provider, which would cost you, what, like $80 a month or however much, I don't
Have
pay
we
for
ever had cable?
So, listeners, if you're paying for cable, then
Let us know.
let us know
I don't think
how
we've
much it costs.
ever had cable.
Or we'll do the research on that one. But, you know, streaming services, if you're paying for Paramount or you're paying for Netflix or you're
Right.
paying for something else, that's each one of those is, you know, $10, $12,
Probably
or
adds up to
$14
way
a
more than
month.
cable was.
Yeah. So to have each and every one of those, you're paying about as much for just the cable provider.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
Anyways,
what's next on the news list?
the other news fact is not quite as scientifically serious, but Jason Momoa will be producing a biopic on Hawaiian surfing legend Duke Kahanamoku.
Ooh, I mean that sounds interesting.
So all you Jason Momoa fans out there. Not to say I'm not a fan of Jason Momoa.
We never watched Aquaman, so
I know, and that, of course that's what the article's pointing out. Like, hey, the guy who played Aquaman.
I
he's
think that's
producing...
because that's what most people would know him from.
Right, but yes, Jason Momoa and producer Peter Safran, or Safran, however you want to pronounce his name.
Saffron is like that cooking
Peter
spice or something, I think.
Sephora.
Saffron. Sephiroth?
Get back in Final Fantasy. Jason Momoa and Peter Safran will be developing a biopic on the Hawaiian Olympic swimmer who's said to have popularized surfing as a sport.
Oh, I would watch that.
Yeah, it sounds very interesting. But those are just a couple things that I noticed in film news going on now. And now, with that being said, it's time to dive into our film of the week, Hell Comes to Frogtown. That's right, Hell Comes to Frogtown from 1988. Written and directed by Donald G. Jackson. What a name.
It is a good name. He also had a co-director. I don't know if you saw that. R.J. Kaiser.
Like the Kaiser Chiefs?
Yes, exactly the same thing.
Still playing in the band?
Yeah, and actually he had a co-writer, Randall Frakes, who was actually an early partner of James Cameron, interestingly
Oh.
enough. Yeah, I know. You wouldn't expect that after watching this movie.
We got quite the combo going on.
I think there's a bit of drama about having a co-director. I think the production company forced them to have this other director because they didn't trust essentially like Donald G. Jackson to do it.
But the film also starred Roddy Piper. We can just call him Roddy Piper.
I was gonna imitate a bagpipe, but I honestly can't even do that. It's like
You always do it like a tuba.
well, because it's very deep. It's very guttural. You know, it's that bag that's like
And then it gets the very loud just
I apologize to every Scottish person listening to this
Or just
episode.
every listener.
Yeah, everyone. Sorry.
The film stars Sandal Bergman. Is it Keck Varel?
I think so. Keck Farrell, which is a great name.
And William Smith, not to be confused with Will Smith.
Can you pause for a minute? Listeners, you haven't even heard the plot of this story yet. But Adam, can you imagine if this movie was Will Smith?
There's I Am Legend, and then Hell Comes to Frogtown.
I was thinking it would kind of be like Men in Black-y a little bit.
Much more like that.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking of I Am Legend too, just like him walking around with the dog, and then like all these zombies.
I just always think of Men in Black in the first one. When they are on the interstate and he like helps that woman give birth to that like octopus alien.
Oh
thing.
yeah. Oh
That's
my
what
God.
I was picturing.
And also Rory Calhoun is in this movie, and many others. You gotta. There's more people than just that.
There's definitely a main cast though.
Of course.
A handful that are the main cast.
But the main squeeze here is none other than Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper is the guy for this movie, and
it is about. I mean, he is Hell in the title.
Exactly. His name in this movie is none other than Sam Hell.
Sam Hell.
And he's the king of the hell. Let's just put it that way.
He's the king of the dick.
Okay. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and that leads right into the plot.
Exactly.
Tell us the plot, Adam.
I got two renditions of the plot here. One that I will call the basic plot, and one that I will call the more elaborate plot. And I'll start with the basic plot, which is basically, when a nuclear holocaust renders most of mankind sterile, a drifter is recruited for a very special assignment. Now, since that is the basic plot, it doesn't really tell you much of what that special assignment is.
It's very open-ended.
Yeah.
You can infer a lot of things out of that.
So let me give you the more elaborate plot. This film is set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland where few fertile men and women exist due to atomic fallout. As a result, the government places a high priority on those who can still breed. Shortly before the movie opens, a group of mutant amphibians, who have been exiled to the desert by humans, capture a group of fertile women and are using them as sex slaves.
That's right. There's frog people in this movie. But let me tell you, one of my disappointments was the lack of frog people. They didn't show up till like the last third of the movie.
It was at least halfway through the movie.
We needed more frog people.
You kept saying, let me just say, as I sat there next to Laura, I heard most of the time we were watching the movie, where are the frog people?
Well, because the first half of the movie is just about this man banging women or needing to bang women. I don't care about that. I care about the frog people.
I gotta say, though, a lot of the humor for me came from his lack of interest in banging people, because he's taken
Adam,
by the government.
There is not a lack of interest.
Okay, it wasn't it was the fact that he had already banged a bunch of people and he was taken by these government women to then impregnate women, and then he's going on a journey with the government women to impregnate more women. But then all of a sudden we see that the government women that have taken him on this journey, they want to bang him.
Let's just say you can tell that this movie was written by men.
And it's when they want to bang him that he's like, yeah, I'm okay.
It's so ridiculous. It's just, this was written by men for men. I mean, you've got that scene where, what's her name? Sandal Bergman. She is like trying to seduce him and she's in like army issued lingerie. It's just, this was written by men. It's so obvious. It makes me so upset. I mean, even on that. So let's set up. The movie opens and we're seeing Hell being tortured by this government guy. And we learn that Hell has been captured because he was raping women. So our hero of this movie is a rapist, which we're not starting off great in my book.
No.
So he raped a woman, but got her pregnant. And because the woman got pregnant, she was like, oh, it's fine. Because obviously, as Adam said in the beginning, the world, people aren't able to get pregnant anymore. It's
right.
Only a few people can. So obviously there's
population crisis. So those that can still get pregnant are like put on a pedestal, right? They're like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, we need you. So once she realizes she's pregnant, she's like, oh, it's fine. But no, it is not fine. The main character of this movie is a serial rapist, and it is not fine.
And then he's taken by this female government CIA, basically.
That's the one good part of the movie, is that the government is controlled by the women now. And I think that's how it should be in today's world.
I don't think it's the entire government, though. It's just like
they're all the ones in charge, though, because remember, they allude to that. They're like the men out in the... They're like, oh, these women have too much power now.
Which is funny that like they make.
I think we need more women in power, because look what they do.
I'm fine with that.
Look what they do. They put a chastity belt on the man, and they control when he can use his dick.
With Sandal Bergman's earrings, control it.
Okay, So he's taken by the government, these two women, and essentially his dick is now their property. And they say when he can use it and when he can't. And
if he tries to run away.
Yeah, he can use it to impregnate women so that they can grow the population again. So it's literally like a chastity belt, like metal underwear that are locked.
If he tries to run away, though, he gets electrocuted. Yeah, and the belt will explode.
And the electrocution is controlled by... What is Sandal Bergman's character's name? Why am I totally blanking on her name? Spangle. The chastity belt is controlled by Spangle's earrings. So she just like touches them and it gives him a little jolt.
Yeah.
Let's institute that in real life.
But if he goes out of proximity of
he tries to run away,
Spangle, or he tries to run away, it will start beeping
and it'll blow
up.
Or if he tries to remove it too, right?
Or if he tries to remove it,
it'll blow up on him.
So his dick will blow up.
His dick is the property of the government. What's that one line, Adam, in the beginning that was really funny, where it was
he carries a loaded weapon.
Yeah, he carries a loaded weapon and it's now owned by the government. It's just so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. But because now his dick is controlled by the government, they take him on this expedition to save a group of fertile women that were captured by the frog people.
Oh man, in Frogtown. And it is so absurd. This is the definition of a B movie.
Oh god, like D movie.
But it's
and that's not a pun about the D either.
It's a D movie.
The D movie. So part of the movie then is Spangle and Hell, along with the other military woman whose name is Sentinella. All I could think of was the citronella, like mosquito candles. Every time they said her name, I was like, wait a minute. Is her name Citronella?
And she tries to bang him too.
Well, she's infertile, but she's like, I want to get laid.
Yeah.
And literally, this is what every woman in this movie says. They're like, oh, Hell, we've heard about your dick. He's like some like amazing sexer. I don't know.
And it's funny because he's not impressed when they tell him that either. He's always like, wait, what?
He was going to bang her, though, so let's be real here. But anyway, Sentinella. She should have went by her real name. I mean, her real name is Sekvarel. That would, way better name than Citronella Candle.
It sounds like an ice cream.
Sentinella? It sounds like a ripoff Cinderella movie.
Sentinella?
I'm Sentinella. I lost my wooden clog.
Oh my god.
So they make their way to Frogtown. They find this scene, I don't know if you felt this way, Adam, but on the journey to Frogtown, they find this random woman running in the desert. So it seems like there's groups of people that are living out in the wild, and they find her and it's like she can't speak to them. She seems very other, right? Mm-hmm. But then they inject her with essentially Viagra for women so that she'll be complacent. So again, Hell can rape her. They have sex. And then you realize the next morning she's a totally normal human. She's dressed in normal clothes. She's talking to them. She's like, oh yeah, Frogtown's that way. I was like, did his dick change her into he made her sophisticated? What happened? Did you notice that?
He's got superhuman powers with that thing.
I guess so. I mean, if his dick's that magical,
That
maybe...
can be the next Marvel movie.
Well, there is a Frogtown sequel. Maybe that happens in Frogtown too.
I'm worried.
We are not watching that.
I think there was some backlash when they did that Frogtown sequel. I'm pretty sure I was reading some articles on that. Yeah.
Ooh, we can talk about that later, maybe. But essentially, that's the movie, right? It's just setting up that Hell's got good dick, and he's going to Frogtown to save the women.
I mean, if Roddy Piper was still alive, we can all give him a call. But
he died?
Yeah, he died back in 2006,
Aww.
I think.
He wasn't that old, was he?
Or was it 2016? He was like 61.
Wow. Well, that's what I mean. Wrestling messes with your body, I'm sure. Like a lot of it's staged, but you still get really hurt. I mean, you were talking about how you read the one article that early in his career, he was hit and like lost a bunch of his hearing, right?
It wasn't hit. I think it was like a dog collar or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it was like a hardcore match he was in.
Oh, well.
Oh, he died in 2015, so I was
You're
quite
kind
a
of
bit
close.
off, but
Well, you
yeah.
said 2016 later. You're close.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Adam, do you have any other thoughts about the movie before we reach Frogtown?
It's hard to recall some of the specific details, except I got a nice kick out of them driving like a pink. It looked like a Volkswagen almost, but
Yeah.
I think it was.
It was very
something
Beetle-esque.
like that, but yeah.
Yeah, very
like
Beetle-esque.
a German-esque
A
car.
giant pink car. Because, of course, if the women are in charge, it has to be pink. Sexism.
Yeah, honestly, though.
But you have, like, citronella candles sticking out the top with a machine gun. Like,
I mean, you have better reasoning than that. I thought maybe it was pink because they wanted it to just look like a traveling dick or something.
well, I mean,
but
I think that's also, a double entendre, as they say.
yeah,
I think it's because they're women, but also because it's very then phallic.
yeah. But other than that, before they got to Frogtown, really, I can't exactly think. And also, I got one thing I'll say.
Okay, go ahead.
But this just ties with the entire film. And I could always save this for later, but I just want to put this out there, is that I saw through my, wrapping of research and things like that as I was diving more and more into this movie. I didn't think about this until, obviously, after I watched the film. Didn't even hit me until after I watched the film. But this is a little bit of a parody play, if you want to think of it this way, a little bit of a parody play on Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, no, for sure. That's literally what I was just about to mention, is that this movie is essentially a ripoff of Mad Max.
I mean, I say Mad Max Fury Road, but Mad Max, the Mad Max, is the relevant choice.
Yeah.
Fury Road is the new one.
Right. I mean, but same vibe. But that's what, whenever you read an article about this movie, literally every single article says, it's a Mad Max, very Mad Max-esque. Like, everyone compares this movie to Mad Max.
I was going to say, you don't really get the chase scene action sequence, but yeah, you do. There's one.
At the end.
There's one near the end.
There's
one.
We got one.
You get one chase scene fight.
That's it, at the end. Well, then.
There's a pretty good explosion in there, too.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a good scene.
One good explosion.
There's one good everything in this movie, and the rest of it's, I don't know.
Ironically, you don't actually see any dicks, too.
No, but you see some bulges.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. All right, let's do this, Adam. Let's arrive at Frogtown.
We're getting to Frogtown.
Let's arrive at Frogtown. I was so happy when we finally see the frogs.
It makes me feel like I'm going to the Star Wars cantina when I get to Frogtown.
Okay, what I was confused about. Now let's talk about Frogtown. What I got from the beginning of the movie is that the frogs and the humans were like at war with each other. So I was surprised when Hell pretty much just like walks into Frogtown with a slave woman. Like, wouldn't they be like, why are you here, human?
Is this a parody on the cantina in Star Wars too, then? Because that's what I felt like. I say that as a joke, but I honestly felt like it was a little bit like that.
So how they get in
Princess
is that,
Leia.
yeah, because they pretend that Spangle is like his sex slave and he's coming there to trade her, to sell her to the frogs, essentially. And that's how they sneak in. But I had thought this whole time that they were at war with each other.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like a serious war,
But what I'm getting from after reading it is that the war is like over and the frog people kind of lost. And because they lost, they've been forced to live in this, essentially it's like a ghetto, right? Like Frogtown is this ghetto that they pushed all the frog people into to live to. So I think now it's like there's little skirmishes and they do kind of fight with each other, but like the war is over. And so I guess that's why Hell's allowed to be there. And that other random human who's there who is like Hell's father figure.
Frogtown's just a dive bar now?
It is a dive bar. It's very much, it reminds me a lot of those like saloons in old Westerns. You know what I'm talking about though? Where you walk in and you have the women like the women with the dresses and the old saloons in the old West.
I do know what you're talking about.
It's very much that vibe.
I was going to say, maybe we should just find a dive bar called Frogtown.
We'll make one.
Oh, man. And just have this on repeat.
And everyone has to dress like a frog.
I would die if I found a bar like that.
Talking about that, though, the one female frog character that we get, Arabella, I believe her name is Arabella.
No,
I was reading that the actress had to spend 3 hours in makeup to get into her frog.
To get in her frog.
Her frog makeup. 3 hours.
That'd be awful.
And I think the makeup artist on this movie was severely underpaid. Like, when we were watching it, I was laughing at kind of how ridiculous Arabella looks. But the main frog, Toady, his frog...
Toady was like an animatronic mask.
It was, yeah. It was animatronic. And it looked so good. And then I realized this movie is from the 80s. Like, you know, obviously it's not going to look like it does today. And I feel like for the time and what they had, the makeup was actually not bad. And the makeup artist was only paid like $12,000.
Ugh.
I feel like he deserves more.
Maybe in the 80s that's something, but...
Yeah. Anyway, so Hell and Spangle try to infiltrate Frogtown so they can save these women. And we learn that Arabella is like an inside agent, right? She actually, though she's a frog person, she like works for the humans and she's there as a spy kind of.
Hell and Spangle. Sounds like a dog movie.
Think of Star Spangled Banner. It's Spangle.
I know, but when you say Hell and Spangle, it makes me think of like two beagle puppies or something going on an adventure.
Yeah, this here's my dog Spangle.
And here's the other one, Hell.
Sam Hale.
Sam Hale and Spangle going on Homeward Bound 10.
I mean, anyway. So yeah, randomly, there's another human there, this old crazy man, who ends up being someone Hell knows, and it seems like was like Hell's father figure. And they're all trying to save these women, but they all end up getting captured. So Hell is captured by Bull, who's like the second in command to Commander Toady. These names.
Commander Toady.
And Spangle gets captured, and she's put into Toady's harem, essentially.
Oh, man.
And so I think this scene, I don't know, Adam, I don't know if I'm moving too far ahead, but once they're captured, right, we see Hell being like tortured by Bull, and Bull just really wants that chastity belt.
I don't know why.
He's like, I need it. And Hell's like, stop messing with it. It's gonna blow up.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, stop my dick.
I mean, he breaks it off, which is great, but...
Yeah, and Bull blows up, not Hell.
Yeah.
But he doesn't die. Because remember, he comes back out and like... So, Bull takes off the chastity belt. He blows up. Hell gets out and like meets up with Arabella. And then as Hell's about to go and save Spangle, Bull shows up all again and kills Arabella. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And I was like, why didn't he die from the chastity belt explosion? Why is he still here? I was connected to Arabella.
It's something we all wonder, like, why didn't we die from that chastity belt explosion?
Why didn't I die from a chastity belt?
Dang it.
Dang it. But now Hell's free, and he's got to go save Spangle and the other women. Meanwhile,
this is when
poor
the Mad
Spangle.
Max chase scene is
No,
about to
we
come
have
on.
to talk about the dance first.
Oh, that didn't even happen yet.
No, we're at the dance now.
My brain's just skipping
Adam,
ahead here. I'm in high gear over here.
Go for it, Adam. Talk about the dance.
Well, Spangle comes up into the town right up to Commander Toady.
Toady.
And Toady's on his high throne over there. Well, he's standing up, I think. He moves off the throne, but he sees Spangle because she's the piece of fine work that got sold off because she's such a great dancer. And as she's standing there and gets in front of Commander Toady, he's asking her to dance for him.
Dance for
and
me.
Spangle asks, what would you like to see? And he's like, the dance of the three snakes.
And at first I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, what would be the dance of the three snakes? I mean, I'm just thinking in my innocent mind, like, it sounds
Like, is
it'd
she
be
just
kinda
really
cool.
wiggly?
Yeah, like a bunch of wiggles.
Like belly
that's fine.
dancing, she's a little snaky. I get it.
And then I learned that Commander Toady has three snakes.
Snakes.
Three snakes.
Do frogs
Wink,
really have
wink.
multiple penises? Is
I
that?
think so.
I didn't Google that. I would assume so if that's the reason why they did it.
I believe so.
So the whole point of the dance is to essentially raise the three snakes.
Yeah.
If you catch my drift. And that's where we see the bulges, little puppet dicks moving around.
No, I take back what I said. They don't have multiple ones.
Why would they then give Toady 3 dicks if frogs don't have multiple
Maybe he's
dicks?
just a mutant.
They are mutants, so
They're mutants already. He's just got
he
3.
mutated to have 3 dicks.
That's what makes him extra special. Not only is he the commander, he's got 3 snakes.
I guess. Did you know for that scene, Bergman was supposed to be nude, but she refused? I was like, good for her. There was no need for her to be naked in that dance scene.
Actress being
Yeah, Spangle.
Spangle.
Spangle. She was supposed to be nude. Again, written by men.
That's what they wanted in the 80s.
And honestly, Adam, I don't even remember how they escape. Does Hell come in and kill Toady? Or does Toady get away? Toady gets away because that's when we get the chase
Toady
scene.
gets away.
Oh, okay. I was like, how does this even happen?
Yeah, they have that chase scene.
Yeah,
and then,
you're right. So Hell comes in and grabs Spangle, and Citronella Candle is outside waiting for them with the Jeep. So they grab all the women that they were there to save, and they all get on the Jeep. And Hell doesn't have his chastity belt anymore, so he's like, haha, Spangle, you can't
Jeep,
electrocute me. And they start to go away. They leave Frogtown. And I honestly thought that was the end of the movie. I was like, oh, they saved the women. Him and Spangle, they're obviously in love. Like, they've had this whole contentious thing going the whole time. But you can tell at the end, it's like, okay, they're going to be together. Drive off into the sunset. But that's not even the end of the movie.
No, they just keep going off on the Jeep, and then Toady goes after them, and we get this Mad Max chase scene going on. And that ends up turning into them getting, in this battle. And finally, Toady and Roddy Piper end up having to duke it out on a freaking cliff.
No, that's Roddy and the human guy.
The human guy?
Yeah, remember the human from the very beginning who was torturing Hell for raping his daughter? He shows up at the end.
Oh, and they fight on the cliff.
Yeah. See, this movie doesn't make any damn sense. We don't even remember. But he's fighting that human guy at the end.
Yeah, I can't even realize why he would show up in the end.
I know. I'm like, what is happening? But anyway, what it comes down to, we've got some explosions, we've got some chase, and everyone is happy. Hell and Spangle, they're like, we're in love. We saved all these women.
But not just that, though. They have that conversation, and basically Spangle's like, you ready to do your job? And he just kind of turns around, and all the women just like,
I know. Well, that's again written by men. They're in love, him and Spangle. It should be like, oh, they go off and be happy together. But Spangle, the woman, is like, oh, no, you've got to fuck all these girls in the back of the truck first.
And then we get that camera shot of all the women like,
hey,
all right.
It's like, your job's not over yet, sir. Get to work.
That chastity belt's off, so
be wild. But honestly, it's just this movie.
And don't forget, if he's not feeling it, then Spangle's right there to get him hard.
She's got that Viagra shot.
Not even the shot. Like, she would just start dancing for him.
Oh, yeah, in her military-issued lingerie.
Yeah, because there was this scene where he was like, I don't know, like, I gotta get ready. I gotta, get to know them.
And she's like awkwardly like removing the strap of her bra.
He has a whole dialogue of him being like, you just gotta get to know people and, go out with him for a while, and like he has this whole sentimental explanation.
Is bullshit because he was captured in the beginning for fucking a bunch of women. So what is this bullshit?
Then he has this whole dialogue of explaining like, yeah, really have a relationship with someone and develop, feelings for him. And she's like, oh, I'll get you ready.
I'll get you going.
Yeah.
I've been trained in the art of seduction.
Yeah. And she says all this and just starts taking her clothes off. Like, yeah, you feeling something?
Well, he obviously does because he fucks her. So
yeah.
But that's really it, people. That's the movie. I don't even know what else to say about it. Like, it's nuts. I want to see a sequel that's literally just focused on Centinella. Citronella Candle.
The third
She was pretty badass. I want a movie on her.
She really didn't do much, and that's the thing. I wonder what's going on in her mind. She was the one, like,
driving the car and shooting the machine gun.
I know, but I'm saying in terms of her character and...
Well, they could do a lot with her.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't talk a whole lot.
I'm going to write a Centinella sequel.
That'll be your first novel release?
Yes. Centinella comes to Frogtown.
Sentimental for Centinella?
Centinella smells of citronella.
Oh my God. So on that note, I gotta say...
Oh, wait, can I talk about one more thing before we get to that?
Go for it.
I should have brought it up earlier, but I didn't. I forgot about it. Guess how long it took Jackson and Frakes to write this script?
How long?
6 days.
They really put the effort on that one.
Jackson went to get enchiladas. They went to a Mexican restaurant. And over enchiladas, he gave this one-pager sheet with these random-ass ideas to Frakes and was like, we need to write a movie. And so in 6 days, they came up with this. And the first iteration was like way raunchier, Frakes said. Like a lot raunchier.
I imagine.
But the production company, I can't remember, it's like New Line or something like that. They were like, absolutely not. So they had to rewrite it. And then they were forced to take on that other director to kind of keep them in line. And they took away a lot of their creative, like, ability in the movie. And Frakes actually said that, like, once the movie came out, he hated it. He was like, this is not what I wanted. Nothing like it. He's kind of changed his mind now that he's seen audiences watching it and the audiences are getting his jokes, right? Like they're enjoying it. It is like a cult classic kind of now. It has a following. So Frakes has kind of come to terms and been like, yes, I enjoy this movie. But initially he was like, this was not what I wanted and I hate it.
And this movie was actually Roddy Piper's first film that he was in.
Which is obvious.
And it's funny.
He's not a good actor.
Sometimes those are the funniest ones.
It's like he does these weird pauses where it's like he's trying to remember the line. So instead of like immediately reacting to like, if I was to be like, Hell, be quiet. In a normal movie, he like Hell would come back like right away and be like, don't tell me what to do. And this one, there'd be like a long pause. And then Roddy Piper would be like, don't tell me what to do. Like he talks so slow.
He's learning.
He's not the best actor in the world, but anyway, give us some reviews of this movie, Adam.
Well, Rotten Tomatoes gives this film a 56% from the critics and 46% from the audience.
And honestly, I'm surprised. I feel like that's good reviews for this movie. That's higher than I would say.
Yeah, I mean, there is entertainment value from this movie, and, it's all subjective. It's your opinion. Take it or leave it, but...
It's one of those movies where people love it because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like the Napoleon Dynamite of our generation. You know what I mean? Like, this movie is to the 80s what Napoleon Dynamite was to us. Very similar, right? Like, dumb writing, dumb jokes, not great acting. It's just so ridiculous. But people were obsessed with it because of what it is, right? It's very, like, meta, which I think people like. And this movie definitely kind of fills that niche.
Agreed. And another movie that we could put in that same category, perhaps much deeper than Napoleon Dynamite, if you even want to call it a comedy. But I was watching the movie Lemon the other night, and I didn't even finish it. But when I was watching it, yeah, it's a laughable film. It's got its funny moments, but in a much stranger context. It's not... Like Napoleon Dynamite, I could definitely say, yeah, that's a comedy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can read that as a comedy. But some people might watch Napoleon Dynamite and think, what am I watching?
Yeah, I think some people did, but
And the same thing with Lemon. When you watch that movie, I could sit there and watch that and be like, this is pretty funny. Like, this is really ridiculous. This is really strange, but I'm seeing the humor in this. And other people turn that on and be like, I don't get it. Like, there's nothing to this.
Was I watching Lemon with you? That doesn't sound familiar.
Not really.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't think I know what that is.
I mean, you would know what it is if you saw it.
I'll look it up later. I do have one quote I pulled from Rotten Tomatoes from one of the reviews, and I just felt like it encapsulated my idea of the movie. And it's essentially what it comes down to is that it's a quote, watching Hell Comes to Frogtown is a viewing experience that's truly unique. And I think that's the best way to describe this movie is you are not going to watch anything else like it. I feel like.
Yeah, there's nothing like that movie.
But other than Rotten Tomatoes, every other article I was reading were people saying like how good the movie was. They're like, this is a good cult classic 80s movie. Like I literally did not find an article that was like, this movie's shit. I think people just like it because it is so crazy.
That is right. There are no other films quite like Hell Comes to Frogtown unless you put on a Disney Pixar film.
What Disney Pixar film reminds you of Hell Comes to Frogtown?
I just mean the characters. I don't mean the...
Because there's frog people.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
I don't mean the
I
subtext.
I don't think there's a good big dick energy.
Let me not rephrase. Let me reiterate. I did not mean the subtext. Not the subtext of the film.
Yeah. Just
on that note,
there's frog people.
There's frog people.
Oh, Princess and the Frog.
Exactly.
They turn into
Princess
frogs.
and the Frog.
There we go. That's the only connection we've got.
Princess and the Frogtown.
Which isn't Pixar, I don't think. It's just Disney.
Just Disney.
So.
See, we can just recreate one. Princess and the Frogtown.
Princess and the Frogtown. Based on Arabella. May she rest in peace.
Arabella. Spangarella. I don't know.
Citronella.
Citronella. On that note, that brings us right into our Slurps Up or Slurps Down section. Slurps Up meaning we recommend this movie, we think it's a good movie, and we think that you should vacation in Frogtown. Or our Slurps Down, meaning we do not recommend this movie. We think that it is a bad movie, and we think that you should stay very, very, very far away from Roddy Piper or Frogtown.
Question mark? The way you said that, you were like, Roddy Piper?
Well, I don't think you should stay away from him. I mean, he's not alive anymore, but... if he was alive, then I'd shake his hand and hang out with him for a while. But Frogtown's the place to very much stay away from.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
Yeah.
If it's a Slurps Down. On that note, Laura, Slurps Up or Slurps Down?
I honestly don't know how to answer. I'm stuck. Like, part of me is like, obviously this is a Slurps Down. It was very dumb. It is very problematic. As a woman, I do not think it's something you ever need to watch. You can go watch any other dumb thing in the world. But then the other part of me is like, but like, I enjoyed watching it. You know what I mean? You and I were just laughing our asses off during it because we're like, what the fuck is this? So part of me is like, no, absolutely not. There's no need to watch it. But a small part of me is like, but it's kind of funny. So maybe if you're at a party, put it on in the background and just casually view it. I don't know. I'm really stuck on this one. So I'm going to kind of be iffy and not give a response.
Boo.
I know I'm taking the easy way out, but
Boo.
I kind of leaning towards no because it's problematic. Adam?
Listen, I have no hesitation, and if you have a family or something like that, maybe don't put it on the TV that night.
What? No. Why are you bringing up families? Do not watch this with children.
I'm just saying. Sometimes you really have to think about that. Sometimes people make mistakes and they're like, hey, I don't know. I was going to say Night at the Museum, but that's definitely a family movie.
Yeah. Oh, you want a real life example? My parents took me and my sister to see Me, Myself, and Irene when we were very young because it was a Jim Carrey movie. And they're like, oh, it's Jim Carrey. So I was like, I don't even know when that came out. So I would have no idea how old I was, 12 or something. There's that scene where there's just a whole bunch of dildos in the trunk of a car. And my parents took me to see that movie.
Now that's kind of funny.
So that's a real life example of traumatizing your children. So don't show your kids Elf Comes to Frogtown.
But I'm just going to say I thought this movie was very funny for what it is, and I would give this movie a slurps up just for the sake of educate yourself and watch more movies than just what Hollywood's cranking out.
That is true.
That's what I'm saying. Watch movies where there's a little bit of trash and a little bit of, not this $1 million movie that's cranking onto your television screen, because all we ever watch most of the time are these high budget films.
Marvel
Everything's got to be
blockbusters.
picture perfect, and everything's going onto the big screen where they had $20 million to put it into the movie theaters. Or since it's 2022 and they're trying to eliminate movie theaters, everything's just going straight to Netflix or Amazon Prime or Paramount Plus. So what I'm telling you is
Watch the indie films.
Watch Hell Comes to Frogtown
It's
or
on
any
Paramount
other B
Plus,
movie.
I think.
But
As you're dogging on streaming services.
no, I'm not dogging on the streaming service. I'm just dogging on the fact that we all just watch these $high films.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is Hell Comes to Frogtown was a cheap, ridiculous, really inappropriate context movie for its time with a professional wrestler as the protagonist. That's not the context of the movie. In real life, he was a professional wrestler, and out of nowhere, this is the first movie he does, is a movie about a guy who's now employed by female government to impregnate the small amount of women who can still get pregnant. Like,
Yeah.
that's the movie we're watching, and I think that in itself is just hysterical. Really ridiculous, and that's why it's funny, to me at least. And so I think that I think it's worth your time. I think it's worth watching. Does that mean when you turn it on, you sit down on the couch and you watch it, that you're going to be thinking like, yes, this is worth every second of my eyesight? Probably not. You're probably going to watch it and think like, this is really, really strange and really just weird as hell. And I think that's what makes it even funnier. So
I get it. Also, I just looked at Me, Myself, and Irene came out in 2000, so I was like 9.
Slurps up from me, slurps sideways and down under and slightly diagonal from Laura.
Slurps, I don't know.
That being said, that wraps it up for this episode of Screen Slurps. Be sure to follow us on social media at Screen Slurps on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Be sure to listen to us on Spotify, Ghana, or any other podcast streaming service out there. And if you enjoy what you hear, slide on over to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star rating. It will help us a lot. And if there's any crazy movies that you want to hear about, please let us know. Leave a comment on one of our social media pages, and trust me when I say, we will be sure to talk about it. So, closing out, I'm Adam Meisner.
And I'm Laura Herlocker.
Slurps up, and we will catch you later. Later, Gator.
Later, Froggy.
Ribbit.
Rowdy Roddy.